Alright, Shawn, here's the quick demo of the amp. So this is the one I'm going to send you here. It's brand new. What I would recommend when you get the radio is RF power for sideband. What you do is key the mic, press the dot, tap the button. So I have it, if I turn it all the way up, it's hard to do this with one hand, but you can see where it's fully deflected to the right. I go 2 clicks back, so 1, 2, and then hold the button in. It'll press in and hold. Then you'll see it's not fully deflected over to the right. You can leave your mic gain all the way up on the radio, and that's going to give you, enough drive to still drive the amp, but not, in my opinion, overdrive it. But this radio does do a little bit more power than the original McKinley did, so that's why I find you don't really need to do anything to them out of the box. So, of course, I have the amp on SSB. You can decide on whether you want to use the preamp or not. It doesn't really matter. I don't use them, but it's there in case you want to. So I'm running it with this mic. You can, I'll have some of these in the future. These are good mics. They are wired directly for the radio. I don't have any right now. I'm waiting on a new shipment to come in, but anyhow, here's what it does with my radio that's never been touched on the inside either. So check 1 2, check 1 2. It actually, in my opinion, it shouldn't do that much power, but it doesn't continually do that much power. But I think that the amp is still safe to run. I've been running it like this for quite some time, and it's not seeming to really get overly hot on sideband or anything, although it is peaking up there, sometimes 130. So it's really only about a 100-watt amp, so really you may want to even go another click back or something. I don't think it would hurt the amp at all to have a little less drive. It probably would be better for it, but regardless of that, I mean, the amp is performing well, so that's that part of it. Honestly, you can, now I'm not going to tell you to do it, but when I use these from time to time, I usually leave it in SSB all the time. So that's just me. If one breaks, unfortunately, I've never had one break by doing this, but I run it in AM like that too. So, but I'm going to let you, personally, I would probably recommend that you switch it into AM, but I'm going to show you that it will work if you leave it in sideband. So the dead key with the amp off is around just under 2 watts. Now that's with that click about 2 back as well on the RF power. So it stays in there even on AM. If you do it on AM, it affects sideband, vice versa. So we'll switch the amp on. It's keying about 26. Let me speak into the mic here. 1 2 3 4 5. Check 1 2. Hello. Check 1 2 3 4 5. Hello. Check 1 2 1 2. So you get a little less out on AM because the radio has just a little less modulation. So it's a very clean sounding radio. Somewhere around 100 watts is probably what you're going to get anyway. So a little extra modulation isn't going to really give you much more. But yeah, you could turn up the mod a little bit on AM, but I don't think it's necessary, and that's why I say the radio works really good just the way it is. So you'll never hurt the amp on AM running it like this. It'll work fine. So as long as you keep the SWR down on your antenna, which I'm pretty sure you already have, so you should be fine. The only other thing I might recommend, and maybe you said you already have one, I don't know, is running yourself like a low pass filter after the amplifier, or if you're running a meter or something, put this last where the antenna connects to this. These kind, it doesn't matter which side the antenna goes to. Some do, some don't. Because as you can see up here, I mean, there's a lot of these spurious emissions that are kicking up and stuff, and that's just interfering signals there on other frequencies. So unfortunately, that is how these amps are made. It'll do even more of that on sideband. So see, I left the switch on sideband. It doesn't hurt it from my experience. It stays keyed on AM. So, but you may want to, just for safety, you may want to just switch it on AM. If you're using this in the house, it's probably better to switch it on AM. But when I did use one of these in the car, I left it on sideband all the time. Because when you switch to sideband, if you can't reach the amp, it's kind of a pain to have to do that. So here's sideband, so you can see all that stuff is there too on sideband. So that's why it's important to filter that crap out 1 2 1 2, check 1 2 1 2 3 4 5. Hello radio. So you know it's somewhere around 100, maybe a little more at times, and that's what it does. So hopefully that'll work out good for you. I'm gonna box this one up and send it your way.